In a courtroom where silence feels heavier than iron chains, the defendant stands motionless, breathing in the last remnants of hope as though inhaling the final warmth before a long winter, while the judge's eyes lock onto him with an expression that reflects both authority and ancient disappointment, a tiredness carved by years of witnessing broken promises, shattered families, and truths sharpened into weapons. The room flickers with golden afternoon light as though the sun itself is hesitant to witness what comes next, and every person present, jurors, spectators, attorneys, feels the tension tighten like an invisible rope tightening around the ribs of everyone who dares to breathe. The prosecutor rises with a slow certainty, speaking in a voice sharpened by purpose, reminding the court that actions are not erased by regret nor softened by tears. And as each accusation is described, the air thickens with images of betrayal, missed chances, and spiraling mistakes, creating a surreal landscape inside the defendant's mind, where memories warp into distant echoes and regrets claw at the fragile walls of his conscience, while the defense attorney steps forward, painting an opposite world in which forgiveness is not weakness but a doorway to redemption, arguing that every human soul is sculpted by scars, storms, and battles that never appear in legal documents, and that to judge a man only by his worst moments is to ignore the thousands of moments where he fought to be better, kinder, more whole. As this clash of moral worlds roars through the courtroom like two tidal waves colliding, the judge's internal world becomes visible through subtle gestures, the narrowing of the eyes, the tightening of the jaw, the quiet tapping of a pen, a language silent yet full of meaning, revealing a struggle between the cold structure of law and the trembling humanity hidden beneath it. And in that instant, the defendant's heartbeat becomes a drum calling the past to testify, summoning shadows of childhood, broken trust, fractured identity, an unspoken longing for acceptance, dignity, and the elusive peace that always felt one breath away, yet forever unreachable. The courtroom becomes cinematic, like a painting torn open by emotion, the colors deepening into dramatic contrasts of light and shadow. And when the judge finally speaks, the entire room leans in as though gravity has shifted toward the bench, pulling every soul into the gravity of a moment that will alter countless futures, where truth is not simply spoken but illuminated like a lantern in a dark forest, and justice, fragile, imperfect, endlessly debated, stands trembling yet undeniable, casting its verdict not only on one man but on the collective conscience of everyone who listens, learns, and questions the meaning of right, wrong, and everything in between. As Part 2 unfolds, the courtroom's emotional gravity only intensifies, transforming the atmosphere into a fragile battlefield where truth and perception clash like ancient warriors fighting beneath a stormlit sky, and the defendant feels as though the walls are closing in, not out of hostility but out of inevitability, as though the choices he made long ago are stepping forward, one by one, to confront him face to face, each memory shaped like a witness carrying its own testimony. The judge's voice becomes an instrument of destiny, resonant and echoing with years of wisdom and the unspoken sorrow of countless verdicts. Yet beneath the authority lies a flicker of empathy, a silent question: is justice meant to punish, repair, or reveal? A question that pierces the hearts of everyone present. The prosecutor rises again, this time not with fire, but with precision, wielding logic like a blade polished to a mirror shine, reminding the jury that consequences are the backbone of society and that leniency, offered at the wrong moment, can become a doorway to ruin. And as these words carve patterns in the air, the defendant's breathing stumbles, realizing that every argument pushes him deeper into a labyrinth shaped by his own decisions. The defense attorney counters not with denial but with vulnerability, offering the court a glimpse into the human condition, illustrating that people are mosaics stitched together by failures, triumphs, emotional wounds, and desperate attempts to heal, insisting that the defendant's story is not one of malice but of a wounded spirit struggling to rise despite the weight of inherited pain, societal pressure, and emotional storms no one else ever saw. And as the jurors exchange uncertain glances, the courtroom becomes a swirling emotional canvas, painted with doubt, hope, fear, and the fragile threads of redemption, each expression a reflection of the inner struggle that defines humanity. Then, as the final arguments settle like dust on sacred ground, the judge leans forward and the moment fractures into slow motion, the air trembling with anticipation, as though the universe itself pauses to listen. Because this verdict is more than a sentence, it is a defining moment that will shape the defendant's identity, the victim's healing, and society's understanding of accountability. The judge's words emerge not as a hammer of condemnation but as a complex melody of justice and humanity, carrying weight yet offering a path forward, transforming the courtroom into a place where law meets soul. And as the defendant absorbs the verdict, tears do not fall from guilt alone but from the overwhelming realization that truth, in all its rawness, has the power to break, rebuild, and illuminate parts of the human heart that were never meant to remain in darkness, creating a conclusion both haunting and beautiful, where justice is not a destination but an evolving journey of consequence, reflection, forgiveness, and the courage to begin again.